You're not losing your job. You're losing your value, and it's already happening. No warning, no announcement. You're just slowly becoming irrelevant. You think replacement is loud and obvious. You think it comes with rejection, termination, or conflict. You think there's a moment where someone tells you you're no longer needed. But real replacement is silent, and that's exactly why you miss it. You've been looking for the wrong signals this entire time, watching for dramatic exclusion when you should be watching for quiet deprioritization, waiting for conflict when you should be noticing distance, expecting announcement when you should be sensing shift. It starts small enough that you dismiss it as temporary. Less attention when you contribute ideas. Less priority when decisions are being made. Less reliance on what you specifically provide. Not because you failed at anything dramatic, but because something else became more valuable than you are. Someone else, some tool, some system that does what you do, but better, faster, cheaper. And you don't notice replacement when it starts. You only notice when it's complete. When you're already on the outside wondering how you got there. When you realize you haven't been consulted in weeks. When you understand your input stopped mattering months ago. By then, the replacement already happened. You just didn't see it coming. And now this pattern is accelerating faster than ever before. AI and automation are removing entire categories of value. Infinite competition is making specialization obsolete. What used to make you valuable is now easy to replicate. Your skills, your output, your entire contribution can be matched or exceeded by systems that don't sleep or demand raises. That's the new reality everyone's avoiding acknowledging directly. Output is no longer rare in any field. Anyone can generate content now. Anyone can produce designs. Anyone can write code. Anyone can analyze data. The tools democratized production completely. So if your value is based purely on output, you're already replaceable. You just haven't been replaced yet because the transition takes time. But the direction is clear, and the acceleration is obvious. The game changed fundamentally, and most people are still playing by old rules. It's no longer about what you produce in terms of raw output. It's about how you think, how you see patterns others miss, how you position yourself strategically. Because when output becomes infinite and accessible to everyone, perception becomes power. The ability to see what matters before others see it. The ability to frame problems in ways that reveal solutions. The ability to connect dots across domains that seem unrelated. That's what's becoming valuable because that's what's still difficult to replicate. Not the doing, the seeing. Not the execution, the strategy. Not the output, the insight. When output becomes infinite, perception becomes power. And most people are still competing on output. Still trying to produce more, faster, better. Still measuring their value by how much they deliver. While the actual value is shifting to something they're not even tracking. Be honest with yourself for a moment. Have you felt that shift happening around you? Still there physically but less chosen for important projects. Still involved technically but no longer needed for critical decisions. Still producing, but noticing your contributions matter less. That feeling of being present but irrelevant, that's what replacement feels like in real time. Not dramatic exclusion, just gradual deprioritization until you barely register. And the uncomfortable truth is, you probably didn't do anything obviously wrong. You didn't fail spectacularly or cause major problems. You just stayed the same while the definition of valuable changed around you. And in a world where value is constantly being redefined, staying the same means becoming obsolete. People don't stay loyal to history or past contributions. They stay loyal to value, to what serves them currently in present circumstances. The moment someone or something offers more value than you provide, you become optional. And optional is the first step to invisible in any competitive environment. Because once you're optional, you're only chosen when nothing better is available. You're the backup plan, the fallback, the person they use when their primary option isn't accessible. And eventually they stop considering you at all because their primary option became permanent. Replacement isn't emotional or personal, it's structural and inevitable. When something more valuable appears, less valuable things get replaced automatically. No malice required, just rational allocation of limited attention and resources. You're not competing with one person anymore. You're competing with a system that replaces anything predictable and easily replicated. And predictable is easy to remove because it's easy to substitute. If what you do can be anticipated, automated, or assigned to someone cheaper, you're vulnerable. If your thinking can be templated, your decisions can be systematized, your contributions can be standardized, you're replaceable. This is happening everywhere simultaneously across every industry and role. In creative fields where AI generates endless variations instantly. In analytical roles where algorithms process data faster than humans. In management positions where decision frameworks replace individual judgment. In technical work where automation handles routine tasks. Everywhere predictability exists, replacement is accelerating. And most people are predictable in how they think, work, and contribute. They follow established patterns, apply known frameworks, deliver expected outputs, which makes them vulnerable to any system that can replicate patterns cheaper. No one tells you directly that you're being replaced. They just stop choosing you as frequently. Stop asking your opinion on important matters. Stop including you in strategic conversations. Stop considering your input as relevant to decisions. And by the time you notice the pattern clearly, it's already done. The replacement completed weeks or months ago, you're just experiencing the aftermath. Your role still exists technically, but your influence is gone. Your position remains, but your impact disappeared. Your title stayed, but your relevance evaporated. And the brutal reality is that replacement doesn't require you to fail. It just requires you to stay the same while everything around you evolves. To maintain your current value while the definition of valuable shifts. To keep producing the same outputs while the market moves to valuing something different. Replacement doesn't punish failure, it punishes stagnation. So the question isn't who replaced you in any specific context. The real question is, when did you become replaceable? When did you stop evolving while competitors and alternatives kept improving? When did you stop learning while systems automated what you used to do? When did you plateau at a level that used to be impressive but is now standard? Because that's when replacement became inevitable. When you stopped being difficult to replace, when your value became reproducible by someone or something with lower cost. Most people never ask themselves this question honestly. They assume their experience protects them or their relationships guarantee security. They believe their past performance ensures future relevance. But none of that matters when the game changes fundamentally. Experience in outdated methods isn't valuable, it's a liability. Relationships based on past value dissolve when current value disappears. Past performance becomes irrelevant when present capabilities matter more, and the game has changed in every field. The skills that made you valuable 5 years ago might be commoditized now. The expertise that differentiated you before might be automated today. The thinking that seemed advanced then might be standard practice now. If you're still relying on what used to work, you're already behind. If your value is based on output volume, you're competing with infinite production. If your contribution is predictable, you're competing with automation. If your thinking follows templates, you're competing with systems. And in all those competitions, you lose by default because you're more expensive and less scalable. The only way to avoid replacement is to become difficult to replicate, not through doing more of the same, through seeing what others don't, not through producing faster, through thinking differently, not through working harder, through positioning strategically. If your value is based on output, you're replaceable by anything that outputs more. If it's based on thinking, perception, positioning, you become difficult to replicate. Because machines can match output but struggle with novel insight, systems can automate process but fail at strategic positioning. AI can generate content but can't yet see patterns across unrelated domains. That's the remaining space for human value that's difficult to eliminate, not the doing, the seeing, not the producing, the understanding, not the executing, the strategizing, the ability to perceive what matters before it's obvious, the ability to connect insights across seemingly unrelated fields, the ability to position yourself where future value will emerge. That's what makes you difficult to replace, because that's what's still genuinely scarce, not output, insight, not production, perception, not work, value. And most people are still optimizing for output when they should be developing perception, still measuring themselves by how much they produce when they should be measuring by how clearly they see, still competing on volume when they should be competing on vision. Which means they're competing in the exact domain where they're most replaceable, where AI and automation have the biggest advantage, where scale and speed matter more than quality, while ignoring the domain where humans still have advantage, where perception and positioning matter more than production, where seeing clearly is more valuable than executing efficiently, where strategic thinking trumps operational excellence. The only people who aren't replaced are the ones who can't be replicated, who provide value that's not based on reproducible output, who see patterns and opportunities that systems can't detect, who position themselves where automation can't reach, who think in ways that templates can't capture. That's not most people, because most people are optimizing for the wrong things, trying to produce more when they should be learning to see better, trying to work harder when they should be thinking differently, trying to be more efficient when they should be more perceptive. So you're being replaced right now in some capacity somewhere, not because you're incompetent or lazy, because you're competing in domains where you're easily replaceable, producing output that machines produce better, following processes that systems automate faster, thinking in patterns that AI replicates cheaper. And the question is whether you'll notice before it's complete, whether you'll shift from output to insight before your output becomes worthless, whether you'll develop perception before your production becomes obsolete, or whether you'll keep doing what used to work until someone tells you it doesn't work anymore, until you're officially replaced instead of just gradually deprioritized, until you're removed completely instead of just slowly becoming irrelevant. The replacement is happening now, not in some distant future. The question is whether you're adapting or ignoring it, whether you're evolving your value or defending your current position, whether you're becoming difficult to replace or remaining easy to remove. Because replacement is coming for everyone who stays predictable. The only question is when, and whether you'll see it coming this time.